Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of Dateline SAU, where you can catch all of the latest news and sports from St. Ambrose University. I'm Sarah Clifton.
And I'm Jennifer Arnold. St. Ambrose University celebrated the Chinese New Year last weekend by welcoming the Year of the Dragon with a special event in the Rogalski Center. A crowd of about 400 people was able to experience demonstrations of martial arts, calligraphy, Chinese music, and other activities. Two local organizations played a big part in this year's event: the Quad City Chinese Association and Quad City Christian Church.
And we provided them at the Rogalski Center with an outstanding venue for this event, much better than they usually have. And they were also able to benefit from the publicity that the university was able to generate about the program. And also all of the support from my office, from the education department, really helped to make this event a great success, probably one of their best ever.
The SAU Education Department helped with the children's programming. The next event in the China Project is the China Business Forum on February 22nd.
The St. Ambrose University Career Center, located in the Rogalski Center, will be hosting College of Business Month throughout February. All students in College of Business will be able to take part in numerous events offered throughout February that are specifically targeted to fit their needs. Students can call or email the Career Center to schedule an appointment.
We kind of cater to all the majors that are in the College of Business. And we'll be having a resume drive-through for all the College of Business majors, which means we'll be having employers that hire business majors coming in here to help with the resume drive-through. So a student can come in and bring their resume and talk to an employer for 15 minutes and get a critique of their resume. And that would really help them, not only with the resume, but with networking with employers and getting to meet people.
Oland also encourages freshmen and sophomores to attend and participate as well.
St. Ambrose students who receive more than $8,000 in financial aid each year have usually been required to live on campus. But due to shortages in on-campus housing the past few years, those students were given the chance to live off campus and not be subject to the $8,000 cap. Now, with the scheduled completion of another new dorm building, SAU officials think that the incentive may no longer be needed.
With that will be the students who had a one-year deal last year who currently live off campus technically will need to move back on if they don't want to be subject to the cap, and we'll work through that. But I think the biggest deal for us is having the right number of beds on campus.
I was excited last year when I got the incentive because that meant I could move off campus and keep my scholarship. But now that the new dorm will approximate the campus population, I'll probably have to move back on campus. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do.
There's a good chance that I have a spot. And then to top that off, if the houses are going to be themed and they're going to get like first choice or whatnot, I might not even get a house. So I'll be a senior living in a home, or worse, living in a dorm. I'm sorry, but I'm not okay with that.
Hansen adds that with the completion of North Hall this fall, the university may actually be close to finally having the number of beds they need for the projected on-campus student population.
It is time once again, students, to apply for residency for the fall semester here on campus. In addition to North Hall and the newly renamed West Hall, they will house academic communities as well as upperclassmen this year. A housing meeting was held Wednesday in the Rogalski Ballroom to inform students of policy changes and to update that some students will be moved from several houses on Brown Streets. Some properties between Gaines and Brown Streets currently used for student housing will be demolished later this semester to make room for additional parking lot.
The Information Technology Department has announced that they have made an upgrade to the St. Ambrose University Internet service. The upgrade tripled the available bandwidth from 100 megabytes to 300 megabytes per second. This bandwidth is shared among all residence halls, classrooms, labs, and administrative offices. The IT department says that the upgrade will make downloading files faster and allow sites such as YouTube, Netflix, and Xbox to load faster. The SAU wireless connection called Student is retiring on February 15th and will be named SAU Student Wi-Fi. This new connection will not require a login every time a student checks onto the campus network.
For the past several years, the City of Davenport has used unmanned cameras to monitor busy streets and intersections, looking for speeders and red light violations. The result has been a lot of traffic tickets and a steady stream of income for the city. Lately, there has been a push to ban the traffic cameras from use in Davenport. In the coming weeks, Iowa lawmakers will take another look at the legality of speed and red light cameras statewide. And although many support the push for a ban, not everyone feels the same way.
Cameras are a great idea because essentially people speed and more often than not they don't get caught. So you know where the cameras are and you know where to avoid. So my recommendation is not to speed and not to run red lights at those spots where there's cameras.
The revenue generated from the cameras is used to fund the system and purchase new safety equipment for the City of Davenport.
It was a busy week in the St. Ambrose sports world.
Bowling, indoor track, and men's volleyball enjoyed a successful week.
And the Fighting Bee basketball team worked to stay on top of the conference with big games versus AIB and Clark.
Dateline's Kyle Porter will be here with all of the exciting highlights coming up right after this short break.
Stay tuned.
I really couldn't have asked for anything more. I was, on the air 3 weeks into my college experience. Everyone around here really wants you to be successful, and it's just a great place that you can get involved in so many different things, meet great people, have a great experience, and hopefully when you finish those 4 years, you look back and have as positive a thought about it as I do. Everything just really had a big impact on who I became when I left St. Ambrose.
KALA Davenport, the public radio station from St. Ambrose University, is proud to offer insightful programs from Public Radio International. Tune into The World for a review of the day's events and how they affect your life. Brought to you by a global network of award-winning journalists, keeping you informed wherever you may be. Just part of the new lineup at KALA Davenport, the public radio station from St. Ambrose University.
The men's basketball team looked to keep the Midwest Collegiate Conference on lockdown this past week as the Fighting Bees took on two conference opponents. First off, the Bees traveled to Des Moines on Saturday to take on the AIB Eagles. 4 players ended up in double figures as Mike Kennedy and Chris Donnelly each had 20 points, while Nick Frazier added 17. The Bees limited AIB to just 26 second-half points in the win. On Wednesday, the Clark Crusaders invaded Lee Loman Arena for more Midwest Collegiate Conference action. We pick it up in the second half as the Bees start to pull away. Here, it's Marquez Davis with a big three-pointer to put St. Ambrose up by 10. And just in case you missed it, a minute later, it's Davis once again from behind the arc as he hits the three-pointer once again, and the Bee lead jumps to 15. On this play, the steal by Lorenzo Fiol off the tip. The Bees look to push it quickly up the court, and it's Justin Blondell with the finish to put the Bees up by 19. And we might as well show you this one as well. Another SAU fast break. This time, Nicholas Frazier with the exclamation point. And the Bees win this one in convincing fashion. Frazier had 25 points, leading all scorers. Marquez Davis came off the bench to add 19 as St. Ambrose scored 30 points off 19 Crusader turnovers. With the pair of wins, the Bees maintained their 2-game league lead over Ashford and William Penn. The Queen Bee basketball team was hoping to rebound after a loss to William Penn last week. This week, they also went up against AIB and Clark. First up were the Eagles from AIB. St. Ambrose unfortunately fell once again in conference action. Samantha Saladino contributed her 5th double-double in 7 games with 21 points and 12 boards. The Queen Bees committed 23 turnovers and shot just 37% from the field. So Coach Krista Van Houen then found her squad in a must-win home matchup versus the Clark Crusaders on Wednesday. Trailing by as many as 15 in the second half, the Queen Bees start to claw back here. Here, freshman Katie Jensen pulls up for a 3 to cut the deficit to 11. On the very next possession, Molly Yergel misfires here, but Carter Ware grabs the rebound, and it's another freshman this time, Lindsay Stopa, with a three-pointer to pull St. Ambrose within 8. A few minutes later, Lauren Cash is all alone in the corner, and she drains a 3 of her own. And now it's a 2-point ball game. The Queen Bees then work it around. This time, Molly Yergel, and the Bees finally have the lead. A bit later, the ladies push it again. It's Stopa to Samantha Saladino for 2. And the Queen Bees turn this one into a big 77-69 win. Katie Jensen had a career-high 21 points to go along with 12 rebounds. Yergel had 17 points and 7 assists as the Queen Bees improved to 6-7 in the MCC and 10-12 overall. The SAU Rugby Club is looking to become an official student organization. The group merged with Augustana College and is taking several other steps to become an official club, providing yet another athletic opportunity for St. Ambrose students.
A long process to go through the university to cover insurance issues, and we had to go through USA Rugby and register with them. And then this Sunday, we will go to SGA and apply for formal club recognition.
The Rugby Club will start its season this spring. They plan to travel to Nebraska with Augustana in late March for a tournament. The #1 nationally ranked Fighting Bee men's volleyball team hosted its annual triangular this past weekend with #10 Grandview and St. Xavier coming to Lee Loman Arena. It didn't take long for the Bees to show why they are considered the top team in the country. In match #1, the Bees had no problem with the Grandview Vikings, dominating the game from start to finish, and eventually sweeping the match 3-0 in front of a nice home crowd. Dan Dowjotis had 14 kills while Hayden Grove added 12 in the Bees' first home game of the young season. The loss dropped the Vikings to 2-3 on the season. A bit later in the day, the Bees completed the sweep with a 3-0 win over St. Xavier. Grove had 14 kills, while Dowjotis and Dan Dirking each added 8. Michael Nooner had 30 assists as the Bees stay unbeaten on the young season. The men's and women's bowling team traveled to La Crosse, Wisconsin this past weekend for the big Viterbo Invitational. The men had the top qualifying score, but lost in the tournament-style roll-off to eventual champion Viterbo. A trio of Bees finished 1, 2, and 3 in individual scoring. Kyle Anderson took the individual title, averaging 224 pins per game. Brian Thompson finished second, and Calvin Kramer took third. The women, in just their third year as a team, took their first team championship, finishing in third place in qualifying. The Bees beat #2 qualifying Ashford in the semifinals and beat Viterbo 2-1 in the finals. Kelly Granzow led the Queen Bees with a 187 average, good for 7th overall. The Fighting Bee men's track team had a solid performance at the University of Illinois Chicago on January 28th. A good sign that the team is clicking at the right time.
Like I said, we stick together. It's kind of like a family. So we all push each other to do better.
The Fighting Bees were in a field of several top teams, including Division I opponents Loyola and the host, the University of Illinois Chicago. And that's it for sports this week. I'm Kyle Porter.
Thanks, Kyle. And that will do it for this week's edition of Dateline SAU.
Be sure to join us every Friday and Monday evening at 6:30 for the latest news and sports from St. Ambrose University.
It is Super Bowl time, so we decided to ask SAU students to tell us about their favorite big game party food.
We will leave you with their responses. Thanks for watching.
Good night.
Food would have to be chicken wings because I like it mild, sweet, and spicy.
I'd have to say my favorite Super Bowl food is pizza. It's classic. You can't go wrong with that.
Chips and queso because I like chips and I like queso.
I think my favorite Super Bowl food would be kind of like the assortment of just like chips and dip and all that kind of stuff, like the random tray of food. Because it's not one thing, you get multiple things with it.
My favorite Super Bowl food is bananas because they're yellow.
My favorite Super Bowl party food is queso because everyone loves it and you can never go wrong with it.